Hello, and welcome to this overview of new releases that I read that were published in March 2025. I'm Olivia, your favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot, and you're watching Random Olive Reads. The Lady Sparks a Flame by Elizabeth Everett is a historical romance and book two of the Damsels of Discovery series. Combine an emotionally traumatized, exiled scientist with an upbeat and fairly emotionally happy kind of guy, and we get this absolute gem of a book. Phoebe is back in the country to deal with her late father's estate, having been exiled off to America for inventing a bomb that ultimately killed someone. She is all sorts of emotionally detached and cold to everyone around her, and we learn that it's because of her horribly abusive father. Somehow, the wealthy shop owner and newspaper owner Sam gets involved in her affairs, first by offering to buy her house, and second by trying to court her sister. Sam's just trying to improve his overall station in life and thinks that a titled wife is the way to do it. But of course, Sam is more interested in Phoebe than anything else and wants to soothe all of her hurts. Tons of emotional angst here as we dig up all of Phoebe's traumas and come to some resolution. This was an excellent read. The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Laura Gilmore is a contemporary romance and book four of the Dream Harbor series. I loved this super cute and steamy single dad nanny romance. Archer has just found out that he's a father to a 5-year-old girl whose mother had recently passed away. He's way out of his depth as a father since he needs to uproot his life as a chef in Paris to move to the small town of Dream Harbor. And he has no idea what he's doing. He hires Iris as the new live in nanny, and she also has no idea what she's doing with the kid. She basically has zero experience, but she needs the money and a free place to live. And of course, the physical attraction and tension between Iris and Archer is high. Although they're both starting to catch real feelings, especially as a built in family unit. Iris is the one who's skittish here and needs to overcome her fears of commitment, while Archer has done a fairly good job of warming up to his new life. I loved this addition to the series. The Trouble with Anna by Rachel Griffiths is a historical romance. I almost missed out on reading this book because I did not realize it was a historical romance. The cover design is fresh and fun, but kind of confusing for which genre the book belongs to. Anyway, we have Anna, a socially awkward daughter of an earl who lives with her maternal grandfather and pretty much hates going to balls and parties. And then her grandfather dies, and turns out he only leaves her the house, horses, and stables if she marries the earl next door. Julian is doing his best to do his duty and fulfill his obligation, but he does not want to marry Anna and thinks the whole thing is a trap. But then he actually spends time with her and is honestly intrigued and a little bit smitten. And then he's terrible at communicating, and she thinks that he's just courting her for duty bound reasons, even though he kisses her every chance he gets. It's basically all chaos in a book with an inheritance clause, a somewhat arranged match, and lack of communication. I enjoyed this book a lot and couldn't wait to see how they resolved their issues. A Midsummer Night's Duke by Colleen Kelly is a historical romance. This is a steamy and emotional one night stand romance between a duke and an actress. Basically, Biddy and Rex meet each other out on the road at an inn, have a wonderful night together, and go their separate ways. But of course, they can't stop thinking about each other, even though Biddy is supposed to be a respectable teacher at a girls' school, and Rex needs to get on with business as a duke. Neither of them know who the other person really is, so they're totally shocked when Rex shows up to visit his sister at school and finds Biddy there as her teacher. Totally awkward. But also fortunate because they can rekindle their relationship despite it being a terrible idea. This book was full of steam and sweetness and longing, and I loved it. Scott and Bothered by Alexandra Kiley is a contemporary romance. Be prepared for lots of angst here. Brooke is a ghostwriter after being unable to graduate school for reasons we find out later in the book. She is co writing her mentor's memoir and goes out on the hiking trail that her mentor founded to get some more perspective for the next round of revisions. The problem is that her ex boyfriend Jack is also on the trip as a photographer because he is the mentor's nephew. This book is told from both Brooke and Jack's point of view, with chapters switching between present day and past development and dissolution of their relationship. I liked reading about their adventures on the hiking trail and all the elements that they had to overcome. There was a lot of time for Brooke and Jack to each self reflect on their goals and dreams in life and how they might be able to make a relationship work this time around. It was also interesting to read the chapters from the past and how their relationship was both fated and doomed from the start. The story gets a little bit teary as we deal with the mentor's illness and how that is shared or not shared with our main characters. This was a great story, but you have to be in the right emotional headspace for it. Our Dear Miss H is on the Case by Violet Marsh is a historical romance, and it is connected to the previous historical romance book written by Violet Marsh. I love this caper of a romance. Georgiana is the sister of an earl and a spinster who's an antiquarian who digs up artifacts. Her cousin Percy usually takes credit for all the work since she doesn't get taken seriously as a woman, but then she overhears her brother trying to broker a marriage to her to an unknown Marquis. And so she's trying her best to escape the situation. On top of that, her cousin has gone missing and she needs help figuring out what happened to him. Alexander is one of Cousin Percy's friends, so he quickly volunteers to help, and we get a load of adventure as these two take on the town and beyond. Oh, and Alexander also happens to be the Marquess that Georgiana is trying to avoid. He has his own problems with a father who hates him and tries to dictate his life, so he's also trying to avoid an unwanted marriage. But of course, these two people complement each other so well, it's only a matter of time before they fall in love. The Earl's Gamble by Stevie Sparks is a historical romance and a very quick and steamy novella. Widowed Rose is at the workhouse after falling into some tough circumstances after the death of her husband and her brother. While at the garden to honor what would be her brother's birthday, she meets Griff, who served in the war with her brother and is also there to pay tribute to the fallen man. And it turns out he's an earl with plenty of money and power to help Rose get back on her feet. So he brings her home and almost certainly falls in love with her, despite the differences in their social station. We also get a scheming butler thrown in the mix for some drama, but it's a pretty quick read. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you found a book or two to add to your TBR. Links to all of these books are in the description box. Like and subscribe to get updates, and you can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.